The Pruitt-Igoe myth was directed by Chad Friedrichs, where it explores the history and demolition of the Pruitt-Igoe public housing complexes in St. Louis, Missouri. The documentary also explores the common beliefs and challenges of why this project failed. The Pruitt-Igoe housing project was built in the 1950s during a wave of urban renewal to provide modern, affordable housing for low-income families. These 33 11 stories high urban housing complexes were designed by Minoru Yamasaki. Most residents who lived in these complexes were African Americans and came from other housing parts in St. Louis. The central argument is discussed throughout the film that the Pruitt-Igoe didn't fail and get demolished in 1972 because of the design of the building, but because of social, economic, and political factors that were occurring during this time period. These factors included the ongoing segregation of race and poverty, as well as the federal and local housing policies that were put in place. It also argued how the lack of maintenance provided made the living conditions for the tenants an issue. Throughout the film, it provides a deep historical context of the housing project. They also use multiple interviews of former residents who experienced living in Pruitt-Igoe, as well as footage to support their argument. This creates a form of bias in the film because the chosen interviewees represent certain perspectives to prove their claim, but not necessarily the full range of experiences in Pruitt-Igoe. Dismissing that the architectural design is a considerable factor, it downplays how it can actually influence the residents' experiences. For instance, design features like unsanitary hallways and broken elevators can contribute to the occurrence of crime and social isolation. The film heavily relies on the emotional appeal to promote empathy rather than providing sufficient data or evidence that slightly weakens its argument. Some might argue that the architectural design of the housing project did play a role. The physical design of the complexes were known to be prison-like, and residents were constantly under surveillance. The high-rise superblock design isolated residents and discouraged community building, which allowed crime to flourish. In this sense, architecture did not just affect social problems, it amplified them. The film could strengthen its reasoning by acknowledging how certain design choices, like high-rise structures or poorly monitored maintenance, may have correlated with the social and economic conditions rather than claiming it as irrelevant. They could also have compared the Pruitt-Igoe with other public housing developments built under the similar federal programs. Comparing different projects that either succeeded or failed would help clarify whether policy design or societal factors had the greatest impact. The Pruitt-Igoe myth emphasizes the role of systemic inequality, economic decline, and policy missteps to the demolition of this housing project. It exposes the social and political dimensions of urban decline and reminds us that urban problems cannot be explained by a single cause. Urban dilemmas, particularly this problem, are shaped by the intertwine of social, economic, and human factors.